welcome to S.H.I.E.L.D. Cowl Cast, where we talk about everything and all things Batman. I'm Mikey, and joining me is with
Mike
and Damone.
Alright guys, so today we're going to talk about the epic tale called Batman War on Crime. The story is created and written by both Alex Ross and Paul Dini, with Alex Ross doing the art.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and that's very famously Alex Ross's painted style.
Oh my god!
It's hyper-realistic.
Alex Ross for 40 minutes.
Yes, it's Alex Ross's hyper-realistic Norman Rockwell style of painting.
Yes, probably the most beautiful-looking art I've ever seen in the industry, in my opinion.
Yeah,
this book is this work is gorgeous. Still life.
In case you don't know who Alex Ross is, he's kind of a big deal.
Oh, he's a god.
He's drawn Kingdom Come, Marvels, these books, Justice with Jim Kruger. Dude is known for very, very good work on very, very good stories.
Yeah, I follow the guy on Instagram and I subscribe to his YouTube channel.
Yeah, he has an awesome YouTube channel now.
The thing is, as a kid looking at Alex Ross art, I always thought that he just drew and painted just without reference whatsoever. That's what intrigued me about Alex Ross as an artist. But then watching his YouTube channel, he actually gets models and gets them in costume, takes thousands of pictures doing the multiple poses. And that's how he gets his hyper realistic style going with reference. So I was very impressed.
It's quite the process to watch him go and do what he does best. But Mikey, give us the plot of this book. This book was a 64-page prestige, oversized book from DC Comics. It came out a year after Superman: Peace on Earth, and this is for the 60th anniversary of Batman.
Well, essentially, this book, the plot is essentially an analysis on Batman and Bruce Wayne as a person, as a crime fighter, as a detective, which is what makes this book very intriguing to read. But before I explain anything, I just want to add that before the story starts, Paul Dini pays tribute to Bill Finger in the beginning.
Well, it's Alex Ross who does.
Alex Ross who does. If you guys don't know who Bill Finger is, he was the co-creator of Batman.
Well, now officially the co-creator.
Yeah, now officially, because he didn't get credit for a very long time, even after his death.
There's a great documentary on Hulu about it. It came out I think 2 years ago now, called Batman and Bill: The True Story of Bill Finger. Yeah. Please go watch it. It's so good.
Yeah, but I've watched it. It's the saddest.
Yeah.
It's so sad.
But I'm so happy that his family and Bill finally gets a co-creator credit.
Yes, which is phenomenal. So, well, to start off in the beginning of the story, we get a narration. Everything's narrated by Bruce Wayne in this entire story. No, there's no actual
speech bubbles or anything.
Yeah, no speech bubbles or anything. It's just you're looking at gorgeous imagery and just narration. We start with looking at the gravesite of the Waynes, and Bruce is talking about how he thinks of the memories of the innocent are destroyed by crime, and how ghosts long departed and ghosts who still wait, which that's what he describes himself. And the next panel, we see Batman on the prowl in Gotham, and Bruce is describing how Gotham citizens portray the idea of Batman as a myth, as a legend, someone who isn't real, as a monster, more or less, which plays into how Batman does his crime fighting with fear and panic to make his enemies, not focus as an advantage.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think is really a smart way to play it out. And basically, this entire story is just the adventures of Batman, how he fights crime, how the people interact like with his exploits.
Mm-hmm. And it's not just Batman. It's also like goes how he lives his life as Bruce Wayne.
As Bruce Wayne as well, and how he uses his money and status as a tool to basically give him an edge when it comes to crime fighting. He uses it as information, and which is very important to what Batman is as a detective and crime fighter. So,
and the story revolves around him patrolling the Bay Area, the Bayside area of Gotham City, where Bruce Wayne's currently looking at maybe buying into a new housing district, which would be built over the a former industrial plant that was recently shut down. And since that plant was shut down in that district of Gotham City, the people have fallen on hard times. So like gangs and drug peddlers are moving into the area. So Bruce Wayne has to view not only like is it economically is it smart for him to buy into this, or should Bruce Wayne put his money elsewhere?
And you slowly like looking at the Bay Area, you see how the descent of it becoming more like a crime populated area, which is what Bruce Wayne focuses on throughout the book.
Yeah, well, the night there's a night where he finds a robber. He hears two shots go off, and he sees a guy flee from what essentially was just like a gas station, grocery, like kind of a Minute Mart type of thing, and then
bodega type area,
right?
And he finds a kid who's still alive, and his parents have been murdered, obviously mirroring his experiences. But he keeps going to that area, and a couple of nights later, he finds that same kid being a lookout for a robbery that's taking place at night. And that's kind of what makes Bruce change his mind about buying into this shady development. Because the guy who's proposing it, he finds out, is paying off cops for extortion and for bribes. So
and I just want to talk about like the first time he sees this kid, when he says like I see something familiar, and there's a couple of panels where he's watching him through the window of the GCPD sitting down, and how he describes how the kid, which is I think his name's Marcus.
Yeah.
Marcus.
Yeah, Marcus. How he describes what he's going through, what challenges he's going to face in the future when it comes to like hiding his pain, hiding his grief, because that's what Bruce went through as a kid when his parents were killed. So I thought that was like a really good contrast between Bruce and Marcus.
Yeah, and he also brought up how that even though he did catch the killer of Marcus's parents, like that's really not going to change anything in the long run.
Right, exactly. But he wants to stop the cycle of crime because he runs into Marcus a third time.
And
he does. He
does. He runs into Marcus a total of 3 times throughout the book. But like right after he's watching Marcus, he goes through like an analysis of like how a description, like more of a poetic description of how crime is, and not just in Gotham City, but just throughout the world, how like it affects people's lives, like physically, mentally. Like for example, there's a panel where it says like it shows a hospital with a bunch of doctors carrying a bunch of injured patients, and it says whether the scars are physical or mental, wounds everyone it touches. Then it shows a mental asylum, and so poisons the mind and soul.
By the way, that's Two-Face in the asylum there.
Yeah, Two-Face. Yeah, Two-Face in the asylum says brings injury and death. And the last one, it shows prison cells with these prisoners showing their hands out of the handlebars. It says, and in the end leaves only despair. And I was like, wow, that's actually like really deep explanation of what crimes does to people's lives. So,
well,
there's an interest. Well,
no, you go.
Yeah, and right after that, there's an interesting thing where it reminded me of like kind of like Dark Knight Returns in a way, where like Bruce is like in disguise watching the Bay Area to get some information on like how it's descended crime-wise.
Yeah, he does that. There's moments where he does that in like Batman Begins, and he's done that in the animated series as well.
Yeah, he disguises himself as a hobo moving a shopping cart, which is a pretty good disguise. So, and well, one thing that confused me was the diner scene where he was talking about the waitress.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was probably my favorite scene in the entire book.
Yeah.
There. Like, individual scenes, probably. Definitely top 3.
Mm-hmm. And he's talking about how past criminals can't resist the temptation of doing crimes, like just doing bad things. I thought was interesting. It was interesting because they took Paul Dini and Alex decided to use a waitress as an example, which was not what I would expect for a message to be portrayed, but I mean it works.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And then, as Mike mentioned, we pick up with Marcus a second time, being a lookout for a robbery.
Well, what I like about the scene with the waitress, though, is that it shows that Bruce is willing to give people second chance, as he can see that she's clearly on hard times, and he gives her a massive amount of tips by just giving her all that wad of cash at the end.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the third time he runs into Marcus is where he eventually has to put an end to at least his journey of cycle of violence, though.
Mm-hmm.
Where Marcus tries to pick up a gun and shoot Batman, but the gun misfires, and Batman finally just kind of stops and lets him know that it's okay. Like, you're not gonna.
A nice big hug.
Yeah, he gives him a hug, and he's like, "It's not. You're not going. By doing this, it's not going to bring your parents back, but you don't have to do that to honor them in a different way. Like, you can break the cycle of it."
Yeah, and I like how when Marcus points the gun at Bruce is trying to calm him down and say if you pull this gun, it will change your life forever. You'll go through a dark path. And he explains, my parents were also murdered like yours. Please don't be the person that don't be like the person that killed both of our parents. I thought it was really deep. I
like the line, "Don't become what killed our families."
Yeah, don't become what killed our families, exactly. Mm-hmm. And again, it shows the contrast between Marcus and Bruce.
And through that, Bruce decides to buy the old industrial shipping yard plant and reopen it, so the area has industry again, and it eventually will push crime out lower in the end.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like even though the profits will be marginal at best, it's helping the lives that matter at the end of the day for Bruce. And he also goes to decline the business deal with the corrupt businessman with Randall.
And fires him, I believe.
Well, no, he didn't work for him. He was going into partnership, but he gives a tip to Gordon and the GCPD that he was bribing and extorting cops. So they come and bust him up at the end.
Yeah. Then how the story ends is we see a beautiful shot of the Gotham skyline and the bridge with the sun going up.
Yep.
And then just Batman reflecting on how he helped Marcus deal with his pain, and maybe someday he'll deal with his own, but he'll just have to wait for now, which is what I thought was pretty cool.
And summarizing the book, I really like the book because I like these books because they're very short and sweet and simple. And then having a master like Paul Dini being able to summarize these concepts so eloquently, and then having it paired with Alex Ross's beautiful painting, just make for a perfect marriage and fine reading experience. These are basically, I call them, because they're so oversized, I call them the coffee table books of comics.
Yeah, I would.
Yeah,
makes sense.
It sums it up.
Because these are all collected in the recent. There was a trade of it earlier. It was out of print for a long time, but their DC with their Absolute line put this out on their Absolute line earlier this year called Justice League World's Greatest Heroes.
Yeah.
Where Paul Dini and Alex Ross would they first did a Superman one, like I said earlier. They would go on to do a Wonder Woman one, and then a Captain Marvel Shazam one, and then they would do two Justice League stories. One with the origin of the Justice League, and the others with like the team roster throughout the ages. So you get that like origin panel for Batman, like the 9 panels at the beginning. He does that for like everyone in the Justice League. It's really awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
Sounds dope.
The Plastic Man one's the best one though, because it's funny and it's a parody of the rest of them.
Okay.
But no, this is a very beautiful, beautiful book, and I'm happy you picked this because I feel like everyone kind of forgets this exists.
Yeah. Well,
gorgeous.
Like, it's a beautiful book.
Like even without like the actual story, like just
looking at it,
gorgeous.
Yeah. And I just want to say, like, after like reading this book and also reading the Paul Dini story we did prior, like Paul Dini, like, because I'm just getting introduced to like Paul Dini stuff, but after reading like this story and the last Paul Dini story we read, he's becoming probably one of my favorite Batman writers.
Oh, definitely.
Because his storytelling just like it makes you think and also has important messages integrated within them. So
I've always liked it because it's always very human at the end of the day.
Yeah, very human, very deep, very real. So that's that type of writing that I'm into. So
it's kind of funny you mentioned Paul Dini. I think we've done. Is this the third Paul Dini book we've now done on the show?
Is it?
Yeah, because
I thought it was. What other?
The
other one.
It was this. It was this one, and then
Dark Knight, a true Batman story, and then we did Heart of Hush.
Oh fuck! I guess it is. I guess it is that.
Okay. Oh yeah, okay. So it's our third. Okay.
Yeah, so we've done 3 Paul Dini books on this show.
Yeah.
But
3 more.
I don't know if he has 3 more Batman books. I mean, he wrote some of the Arkham Asylum and Arkham City tie-in books.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then also he has Mad Love and Other Stories, and then Harley and Ivy. Those which were in the Batman Adventures books.
Mm-hmm. So
those exist. Maybe we'll cover those sometime. But overall, I guess, like, is there anything else you guys want to talk about this? Because we kind of summarized it, because it only being 64 pages, there's only so much of as deep of a dive as we can do.
Mm-hmm.
No, nothing really. Just that it's a great book, like phenomenal art. Follow Alex Ross's YouTube channel and stuff, because if you're an artist, he'll teach you a lot of helpful things in the industry. So
and it's also check out, if you like this art, check out Marvel's, check out Kingdom Come, then check out Justice.
Yeah,
he's more known now for doing covers though, primarily at Marvel.
Yeah.
That's where he's done covers for the last few years.
With Alex Ross, what makes it interesting is that he's with his like photorealism type style, and using making his heroes like in like not like armored up like you see him nowadays, like in classic spandex, with like it gives it like an old fashioned type feel with his art. So I mean.
Well, when it comes to the DC characters, Alex Ross is very adamant about drawing them and the way he knows them. And this is going to sound funny, but Alex Ross's main, his base for the DC characters is Super Friends, because he loves Super Friends.
Yeah, he mentioned that in one of his videos.
Which, like, there was a time where he was like, I'm never going to draw Kyle Rayner Green Lantern because it's not my Green Lantern.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, he'll draw John and Hal, but, like, he will never draw Kyle Rayner. So, like, for the longest time, like, if you saw an Alex Ross book for DC, it's 90% of the time it's in how the original characters looked. Like, obviously, Kingdom Come's an exception, and then the part of Justice where they get their armors by the middlemen. Which, by the way, if you ever want to see what a Super Friends Justice League book would be like, if partially written by Alex Ross and then the other half written by Jim Kruger. That's Justice, which is It's all right. It's worth checking out if you like it, but it's kind of a fun book. It's 12 issues. Absolutely awesome art in it with Superman and Batman. You get to see him draw like Brainiac and Joker. Justice is a fun book, especially if you just like Alex Ross's art. But my favorite Alex Ross thing is still Kingdom Come, written by Mark Waid in '94, and then Marvels by Kurt Busiek is absolutely fantastic. I think that came out in '93, so the dude is a legend of the industry, and I don't think there's a guy who doesn't like Alex Ross's art or instantly knows Alex Ross's art.
Actually, like 2 years ago, when I went to New York Comic Con in 2016, Alex Ross has his own like booth that he has like every year.
Yeah.
Which he doesn't attend. I don't even think he shows up at his booth at all. But
that seems like the most worthless thing then.
Yeah, that's how legend he is. Like he doesn't even show up, bro.
It's self-advertising for him because he has his logo on everything. If you looked a few weeks ago, he brings in these giant billboard structures for San Diego. He was bringing them for San Diego.
Yeah, they're ginormous. And the thing is, like, when I saw that booth and saw these huge paintings of DC characters or Marvel characters, like I knew there's 3 characters that I love Alex Ross drawing, personally for me: Jay Garrick, Batman, and Aquaman. And like the way he draws Aquaman, as you said, when it comes to Super Friends, just like the classic like Super Friends comic book look where it's ridiculous, in my opinion. But like at the same time, when he draws it, it just looks so badass. Like because with the detail and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I love his flat. I like all of his DC characters for the most part. I think he draws a perfect Captain Marvel, Shazam. That's out of these short story collections. The Captain Marvel one is my favorite by far. I love his Captain America.
Yeah, his Captain America is wonderful. The way he does Iron Man too, like the Golden Age not Golden Age. I would say what. Like he's like what like
70s.
I'll say Silver Age Iron Man.
70s Iron Man. The one the iconic armor everyone knows.
Yeah, where like I remember seeing like I think it was Marvels or like maybe it was like not even like a comic book I think it was just like a piece he did.
I think it was the Marvel 75 years poster for Iron Man where he has like all of them on there.
And it's like he's glistening, like it was cool.
Yeah, he puts a shine on it.
Yeah.
There are some characters where it does look weird where he draws them. I don't think he's ever drawn Spider-Man particularly well.
Really? Oh, I enjoy Spider-Man actually.
I think it's more with the Marvel characters that I think it's weird.
Yeah.
Especially weird when he was like. It's especially weird when he's drawing like the newer costumes on people, like. For Generations, when he was drawing not only Wolverine but Laura Kinney Wolverine X23, that it's like looks odd. The weirdest one being the weirdest one for me though was when he was drawing Spider-Man in the Parker Industries era with the freaking glow spider.
Yeah, he did a lot of covers for that.
Yeah, he was doing covers for that run. I was like, this looks awful.
Yeah,
I mean, the art looked fine, but the suit was terrible.
Yeah, I mean, because you're so used to Alex Ross doing that like old-fashioned superhero like costume style.
Exactly.
So when he does like the new styles now, it's kind of weird.
Exactly right. Anything else you guys want to say about Alex Ross, this book, Paul Dini, as we're getting ready? Because the next episode will be a guest episode.
Yeah, it's gonna be a fun time.
Well, yeah, I guess we'll really.
You can't even say with a straight face.
Our friend William Knotts Jr., correct?
AKA Chaboy.
AKA Billy from Saga, the Clone Saga. So we've completed the hat trick. Every host of the Clone Saga has now been on this show after Billy comes on. And he's chosen.
We'll just need Mikey to star on the Clone Saga, and it'll be.
And then the cycle's complete. Which Mikey is. He's gonna do Ultimate Clone Saga with us.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to do that episode. But Billy has chosen Frank Miller's and Jim Lee's All-Star Batman and Robin the Boy Wonder. The unfinished story from the All-Star line of DC books.
And I know y'all can't see because we're doing audio, but like when Mike told me that, just like a single tear came down my eye, and I was just
it's an infamous story, and it's a story of partial ridicule as well. I've never read it, but I feel like if you don't take it seriously, it'll be fun. So I'm looking forward to this because I know how panned this book is, and I cannot wait to read it to see if, for what I've heard for years, is true. But I'm well aware of the memes of it, though.
Yeah, I've heard of this book. I've sworn never to read it, but just for you guys, I'm going to read it. So, yeah, but so that's going to be something to look forward to.
Damone, what are your thoughts on All-Star Batman and Robin the Boy Wonder? You excited? You nervous? You anxious?
Gosh. I'm not as plugged into Batman as either of you two, so I'm going in a little bit more blind, but I'm always pretty excited to read anything Batman, so we'll see how this goes.
Well, I'm assuming you know of Frank Miller.
I do know of Frank Miller. I've come across his name once or twice.
Once or twice?
Wrote Batman Year One and Dark Knight Returns, two of the most celebrated Batman stories ever made.
And then, outside of Batman, he did Sin City, he did 300, so...
His Daredevil run is possibly one of the top 5, maybe top comic runs of all time. And here we are with one of his most critically panned creations. I cannot wait. And I guess it's that time again where, Damone, you got to tell us too?
Guys, I want to thank you all for coming again, and I just want to remind you all to get home safe.
All right. And with that, we will bid you adieu.